Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. This is Stock Anime Robin. In this video, I'll be unboxing and reviewing the SH Figuarts sets of Peter B. Parker and MayDay Parker from the animated movie Spiderman Across the Spider-Verse. And this set is manufactured by Bandai Tamashii Nation. Now let's quickly check out the details from the case before we open the set. So similar to most SH Figuarts, we have a transparency here that will allow us to view most of the figure, or actually two figures. So we have Peter Parker here in his Spiderman suit here, and two alternate faces or heads for Peter, as well as a alternate neck part, and MayDay Parker here, and the alternate head for her. And here are some pictures for the figure, but they're portraying Peter's appearance from the Across the Spider-Verse movie. So obviously we have alternate parts that can enable these appearances. As we saw here, we have the pink bathrobe Peter wears for these appearance. And we can have him hold MayDay just like he does from the movie here, and so looks like the tiny figure has at least some minor articulation as well. And the main Peter Parker figure, apparently he can do it does have enough articulation for many kinds of poses you want the figure to put on. So now let's open up the set. So we have the entire set in this transparency case, and looks like there are more interchangeable pieces for the figure than we originally could see from the case. So there's like a alternate torso for MayDay Parker here, so he can be hang around his father. And we have Spider-Man's webbing here, and the two pair of alternate hands for Peter. Well, I mean, one's without gloves, and these are the three alternate pair of hands for the Spider-Man's gloved hands, and alternate feet to put for the sandal appearance. And inside the set, we also have a instruction manual here. This shows us how you can change the figure's hands or switch the alternate heads for MayDay Parker here, and to replace the Spider-Man's mask face and neck with the unmasked heads and the neck part, as well as changing the hands and the bracelets and the lower leg here, as well as the the different pair of hands up here. And how you can put on the bathrobe and just secure them with the carriage of MayDay here. And you can change apparently her arms and tiny legs too. Now let's try them out. Whenever you're opening up the cover for the SH Figuarts or SH Monster Arts set, it's very imperative that you pull the cover up carefully, because if you don't, you could send any pieces, especially the small ones like this bracelet, flying off, and then you're gonna have a very difficult time tracking down those parts. There we go. And here we have the main Spiderman SH Figuarts, and we have a plastic film inside its torso. Now, usually the presence of this film is proof that this set is brand new when you first open it up. And apparently, despite this figure's slim form, you can get a standing without having to do too much adjustment. So it's got in very good balance, but as you can see, it's not exactly standing straight right now. Let's start by checking out this figure's articulation. So it can look left and right easily, and also down and up, way up actually. And this is like very rare for SH Figuarts. So we got a very articulated Spiderman here. He can raise his arms laterally easily, and his shoulder joint looks like can move up and forward. These arms articulation allow him to put on like cool fighting pose such as this, or punching pose like this. And his chest can bend forward or backwards. Can also turn. So most SH Figuarts can turn at their waist. In this figure's case, it's turning at its chest. And at its torso, you can bend forward, but not backwards. And the legs can kick up and backward 90 degrees. Its legs outside can rotate inward, outward. Knees can bend. And the feet is very articulated. It can also bend, which help with putting on, like standing on the toes kind of pose. And so the figure not only has like the most articulation shown in most SH Figuarts, but again it can look way up, which makes it as one extra articulation that's not present in most SH Figuarts. And with the legs articulation, you can put on different kind of stance you want, however you want it to stand. But because the legs is so thin, you're gonna have to work on the balance. Yeah, it can be tricky, but I'm pretty sure with enough practice it can be done. And now, in order to put on the alternate head and hands, you just have to literally remove those parts and then put on the alternate parts as it was shown in the instruction manual. You have to literally move the head and neck of Spider-Man and then put those alternate parts on, same thing with the hands. So let's first check out the poses we can do with the alternate hands, for specifically the alternate glove hands. Here we have the pose that you saw Spider-Man making on the back of the case with the alternate hands where his fingers are touching the ground. Here we have Spider-Man making his traditional crawling pose with both open hands. Just like all SH Figuarts, this figure's posability potential can be pushed to the maximum if you have a compatible display stand with it. And in the case of this pose, you can have Spider-Man clamp down, and if you want to like portray him crawling on a vertical surface, can use the box right here, like kind kind of like that. And now it's like he's scaling the wall or crawling the wall. You can also have his arms and legs spread out, and with this picture here, it's almost like he's crawling on his spider web. You can have him posing, crawling on the floor or on the ground. And here we have another alternate hand. It's technically used for holding the long webbing, but it can also be used to look like he's giving you a thumbs up pose. And here we have the webbing shooting effect parts and the alternate hand for webbing shooting pose. This part can get a little tricky because such small joints here. It can be a little hard to stabilize them. There we go. As you can see, this looks like he's shooting out his webbing. This is shooting out the long webbing. And here we have Spiderman doing a web swinging pose with the last pair of alternate hands. That's showing for grabbing the, holding onto the webbing here. And so with the display stand, it's like his Spider-Man is swinging with his webbing. Now we've covered all the basic feature for this set for Spider-Man in his traditional mask form. So now let's start changing him to put on the legs with sandals and socks, and with his gloves off and unmask head. So first you move the head and neck here, and then you put on the neck that exposes the skin of the neck here, and then you put the head on. There we go. We have Peter Parker with a little bit of mustache and smiling. You take the fist out. Again, how tiny the wrists are, it's hard to make it hard to put the alternate hands on. And finally, you just have to literally pull out the lower leg, and then just put the replacement on. And for some reason, it doesn't want to get attached right now. Try harder here. Oh, let me try the other one first, see if it's the same trouble. There we go. There we go. Here we have Peter Parker without his mask and spider boots on. Here's the welcoming pose you saw the figure doing this form on the case. And it appears these pair of alternate feet got the same. It has this. They have the same joint as the default leg part and feet does. So you should have no trouble put on any kind of stance you want with these alternate feet. Although again, it's very thin legs here. You're gonna have to work on balance carefully. With the gloves off, there's one thing that needed to be put on. A little wristband here, or bracelet. It's supposed to go on the left arm. So unfortunately, it can be put on easily. Here we go. Next, we just have to put the bathrobe on him and strap the baby carrier on him as well. Now, we first just have to put on the bathrobe, which is like how you would put on your own clothes. It might be easier if we took the hands off first. And then put them back. The bathrobe has some wiring at its edges, so it helps however you want to close out on the figure. This form, the figure might also work better with the other alternate pair of hands and head. So now this is Peter Parker with the other face and hands. Now we strap on the baby carrier. First, the main carrier has the neck part for MayDay Parker for when you want to put her on. So if you want the baby carrier to first appear empty, you want to first remove this part. Now first we put this belt on around Peter's waist here, and then put the straps on. And finally, we just have to fit the carrier onto these hinges for attachment. It can get a little tricky because these parts aren't exactly fixed in place. It took me a while, but I finally got them stabilized, and the best ways to have it attached is start with the low part and then try to put the hinges on the strap here in place, and you'll eventually get it. Again, it can be difficult the first time you do this. Maybe a few practice and you get it perfect. So here we have Peter wearing his bathrobe with his baby carrier on. And here we have a little baby MayDay Parker here. And let's see the cute little girl here. There's not a lot of articulation for this baby. Now her tiny legs can't really move at all, and her arms, and maybe a very tiny movement, but there's no actual articulation. The only part of her that's articulated is her little back here. You can bend backwards, so it can look like she's looking up when she's crawling on the floor. And she can turn her head, which is nice. And just like the Peter, her head can be detached, and this is obviously a little disturbing. It's like you're behaving a baby, but don't worry. And you can replace it with the alternate head for her. And now let's see how we would put her in the baby carrier. Before that, let's have Peter hold her. And here's MayDay Parker's alternate head, where she has her happy face on, as well as her Spiderman mask hat. It'll take some practice before you know how to really have the figure held steadily, but it can be done. And if you want to stabilize them both, it's probably best to utilize the display stand, hold them still while in this baby holding pose. There we go. And now let's set up MayDay Parker in the carrier. So this is a part where we need the alternate neck part for MayDay Parker to put inside the carrier here. And now again, the disturbing part, you're gonna have to disassemble the baby. You have to take all her legs and arms from her tiny body, and then you put on those tiny legs and body onto the baby carrier. See, it can get slipped. Let's try that again. Apparently there's a specific angle you have to position these tiny arms and legs at, otherwise they just won't go on. And finally the head, where you have to pull out these tiny string or hair part, as well as the neck joint in this head. Then goes on here and down. We have May Parker with Peter Parker here. And it might be better if we put the other head back on Peter, where he's really smiling, just like the baby here. And finally, here we have Peter Parker running with MayDay Parker, just like the pose you saw from the case. And with that, we have covered all the basic features for this set. I think we've seen enough to say that this set allows any collector to recreate this Peter Parker's scene from the movie perfectly. And even though he didn't take on a lot of role as Spider-Man fighting, this set with him as Spider-Man can completely portray that. And we can also have a figure playing the Peter Parker in a fatherhood mode, which is unique and unusual, which makes the set very interesting. This set should make a good collection to most Spider-Man fans. And it's one of the unique part in this set will be Peter putting on the bathrobe here, which, like many new clothes piece that's being introduced to SH Figuarts set now, it's very flexible. By touch, I actually feel like a real mini bathrobe, so that's another interesting part for this set. It should be very fun for most collectors to play with. However, as you saw, this set can be pretty complicated to work with, and if you don't want to deal with complication, maybe this is not a set for you. However, even with just its regular mask Spider-Man appearance, it's very versatile and again, articulated, so that alone might be a good reason for any Spider-Man fan to consider collecting this set to work with, even if you don't want him switching into the Peter Parker fatherly figure form. And most Spider-Man SH Figuarts are based from like live action Spider-Man movies, and this is like pretty much the first Spider-Man or Peter Parker as Spider-Man animated version being made into SH Figuarts. So if that's something you're looking for, maybe this is a good set for you after all. It just takes practice for you to work the set's full potential. This concludes my review for this set. Thanks everyone for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please click like and subscribe to my channel. and please check out other videos in my channel. If you have any question, please leave them in the comment section. I will answer with the best of my knowledge and ability.